Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. In this video we are going to take a look or just briefly discuss something. Basically, I don't want to make it a huge thing, but there is something that recently occurred in Dokkan with the brand new event Fighting Spirit of the Saiyans and Pride of the Wicked Bloodline. Basically, this event has advantageous characters. Now, it's not an entirely new concept to Dokkan. It has existed before. A lot of Dokkan events will feature units that will nullify damage reduction or do greatly increased damage. But it's the first time, at least from what I can understand, that it's been included as a direct bonus on hard difficulty, at least since the advent of Dokkan events. And the reason why I don't truly appreciate this type of mechanic is obviously it incentivizes the player to summon on units from banners. Now, obviously, most hard content in Dokkan incentivizes players to summon on banners. Things like Cell Max event, things like the Red Zone, obviously push players to summon for newer units because those units, generally speaking, are made with the power spike that's required to take on such difficult content. So it's not really out of the ordinary for gachas to, in theory and through practice, require you to have new units to beat events. The newest units, especially at Anniversary you see it nowadays, are usually some of the few units that can actually beat the super hard competitive events, at least in the very beginning. My issue is that the character roster list for these events is incredibly small. So, firstly, it's very incentivized to have the absolute most brand new units to take these on. Even in Red Zone, to a certain extent, you start to build a team out of other units. In these stages, there's a very high kind of push to have the new units, which is a little bit scummy. Like I said, it's not the end of the world, but it is a little bit scummy, and it's a more worrying trend for the future. If you look at a sister/brother game in the form of DB Legends has had character boosts for resources that drop from game modes, and they got a lot of flack during the anniversary, but they dramatically affect the rate at which you acquire medals and rewards in a lot of game modes that matter in Legends. This could be a kind of slow easing into that on the Dokkan side. It starts off like this. You're incentivized to have a unit like Physical Metal Cooler, because Physical Metal Cooler makes completing the one stage dramatically easier than when you don't have him. Similarly, you're incentivized to have the LR Super Saiyan Goku and the Super Saiyan Vegeta unit, because they make beating the multiple cooler stage surprisingly easier than when you do not have them. This, in its own right, pushes players to summon on these current banners, and these current banners, as we well know, are a new format that's been tested out that feature only one of each featured unit. So for a player that's truly struggling, if these were just tuned a little bit further to the right hand side of the dial, if they were just turned up a little bit harder with how limited the categories are, if they were maybe 10-15% harder, you would find players probably would need to summon and get the brand new units. And because there's only one per banner, that would mean ultimately more effective summons. So although it's not a train smash, as I've shown, you can beat the events without the featured units, and they do have some suitable free-to-play options. I only really approve of advantageous characters for events if they are free-to-play units, and the reason why I approve of this is because grinding free-to-play units is already probably the most admin thing you can do in the game, and it feels unrewarding when sometimes, especially after a big grind, they can barely scratch the surface of hard content. Giving them an advantageous boost, at least in some hard events, would create greater incentive to summon on them. If you look at the third stage here, for example, against multiple coolers, the Advantageous character list is incredibly small and already pretty much requires you to have 3 of those units easy aid and maxed out to even kind of give the stage a really good attempt to go. Or you need to have multiple LR units in your team. So it's really quite restrictive in its selective nature. I think making it only free-to-play units, giving a greater list of free-to-play units, will always make things a bit better, always make them be able to be a bit more reliable. Like I said, it's not the end of the world, but it does seemingly parry up nicely with their change in banner format to be trialing a slightly advantageous character boost. I think it's not a death signal, but it's definitely something that for me, I hope they manage properly. To take it the full Legends route would really dramatically impact user experience of the game. To feel like you're not beating an event because you didn't pull newest units is one thing. You can always then pull the newest units on the next banner or newer units on the next banner and try again. To fail an event because you don't have a specific new unit feels a lot worse, especially if they're going to continue to restrict some of the side in-game content. Overall, like I said, it's not really the end of the world, but it is a small step in the wrong direction. So I thought I would just talk about it, kind of get your guys' thoughts, see what you think about it. Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you think it could lead to more? I think based on my history with DB Legends, I'm a bit concerned. But that's it from me. Bye.